Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Back-to-Back Experience. Let's check out the topic for today. There you have it, guys. So now that we got the topic, let's join the crew back in the chat room.
Okay, gentlemen.
Well, is that like an always thing or like depending on the circumstance? Because I don't think you can say who should always come first in your relationship. So
Okay, but if your girl doesn't like your mom or your mom doesn't like your girl, who should come first?
Right.
Okay.
Like, let's say in the instance where you really like your girl. Let's say let's say like Africans, you need your family blessing or you need your family blessing for you to be with somebody. So let's say your mom has an issue with the girl you're trying to marry, and because of that, the girl don't feel comfortable around your mom. And one day they get into an argument and she tell her leave. Which side will you pick? Would you be on your girl's side or would you be on your mom's side?
You gonna kick your mama out like Blueface, or you gonna stick with your mama, basically?
no, well, if they both love me, then they should both try to figure out a way to make it work.
So you're not making a decision.
Well, I could be like a mediator, but I can't like always interject in your argument because that's picking sides, and you should be neutral in that kind of
You
situation.
have to pick a side.
So when it comes to picking side, what I think about is you should pick a side. You have to, because I believe in principles, and the principle that I believe in is a man shall leave his mother and father, and he will cling to his one, and the two will become one. So at this point, your mom don't matter anymore. So your wife is you, and you are your wife. So you have to choose your wife over your mother.
I feel like you have to pick a side. Once you get married, if you married your mom, she had her own husband. She needs to go do that over there.
Are we married though, or are we dating?
Okay, if she's your wife, I feel like you have to pick a side. Like, there's no neutral because
No, I'm just asking. Are we married or are we dating?
married.
Married.
Yeah. And then let's say engaged,
I
married.
think it's gonna be my wife.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if we just dated, it's probably gonna be my mom's. Like, that's my mom.
But what if your mom's wrong though? Like, what
Y'all
are you
not
doing?
dating with the intent
What do you do in that
of
situation?
marriage?
What if your girl is wrong?
What do you do in that situation? You guys
Actually, it's hard, but to me, I'll still say my mom's. If we're dating, like, that's my mom.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I agree with that.
You just dating, gotta go with moms.
But are y'all not dating with the intent of marriage?
Yeah,
So,
we
why
are,
you choosing something
but
totally different?
she has to see something wrong.
But it's not
you know what I
official
mean?
yet, right?
And it's not official, but she has to see something wrong with the girl to be like, yo, you can't marry her because of da 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 da.
Right.
And if it's reasonable, I'll be like, okay, yeah, maybe you have a point. You know what I mean?
And before you get married, you defer to your mom. It's just the right thing, I think, in that situation. But if you're married, then of course.
Well, if you're already married,
Yeah,
it has to be my wife. That's just my own opinion. I don't know about anybody else. So
you're right, man.
I mean, probably what I gotta say.
I feel like if you're married and then they end up having a beef after you've already gotten married, then you're gonna have to. I'm a logical person, so
Right.
I'm gonna take the emotion out, and we're just gonna take logic into it. They both might not like that, but it's like, what's logical? If it's just emotional, we can't just go off emotions. People change emotions all the time. Logic is logic.
Right.
2 plus 2 is 4. So if it makes sense, then we have to figure it out. But
So what if your mom was living in the house with you with your wife, and then they can get along, and then what are you going to do in that situation? Are you going to tell her to leave, or are you going to tell your wife to leave? Your mom stays.
no, I'll probably tell my mom.
Yeah, well, it's kind of awkward. Yeah, because I mean, like,
What?
I guess
That's my wife. That's her house too. No,
I guess the thing is I gotta live with my wife forever, for the most part. So if moms is coming through, I might have to get a little mom sweet.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like a little something to the side.
That's Carlton.
Something that you guys forget is like the mother feel entitled and the wife feel entitled. So it's like they both feel like they have the right of doing what they're doing. The mom feel like, that's my son. I brought him into this life, so whatever I say he has to do.
Yep.
The wife feels like, well, I'm the wife, So whatever I say, you have to do. So in that situation, I feel like you guys are trying to like.
No, I get it, but there's no way you could go
You
against
have
your
to
wife.
pick.
But that's still
What about your mom?
But that's still
Why? You might be able to get away with that. You know what I mean?
I'd go with my wife because it was for better or for worse.
Right.
And the point where my mom had the most influence on me was when I was growing up, when she was raising me up. Whatever she says is final. But when I'm a man, every time my wife will look up to me to make a decision that will prove to her that I am worthy of leading her to wherever I'm going to in life and stuff like that. So I would always stand by my wife, but I would be diplomatic. That is my wife. That is who I'm going to do for better or worse with. If my mom dies today, my wife will always remember that I never stood by her when my mother was around, and she would always bear that resentment in her heart. And so at the end of the day, the marriage is already ended before it already started. So 10 years down, we're probably having problems. We can't even place it, but it's like those little moments that she expected me to stand up for her, and I let it go, saying, "Oh, my mom has to, you know." So
Ladies, you see, that's a good one.
I get that, but there's a lot of people that they get divorced. So like you picked your wife over your mom, and then all of a sudden next week y'all divorcing, and then your mom's like,
but then,
like I'm just saying that's real. Like
that makes sense though.
All divorces end in 50%.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Marriages.
Marriages end in 50% divorce. So
divorce is a real thing.
So like you gonna dish your mom.
That's gonna be a hard one though.
But that's the problem, because you see what you're trying to say is, so because of the risk of divorce, I should always hold back with regards to what
what's right.
Not what's right, but like I said, being logical. But the thing is that's always going to be your mom no matter what.
Yeah.
Your wife might not always be your wife, but your mom's always going to be your mom.
But that's not the intention at that point,
you're
right?
You're going against your own point because whether you got divorced or not, your mom will always take you back.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Your wife will be like, I'm not going to ask your mom. Let's sleep on the couch.
She might not take you back. I mean, there's some bad situations in families. I mean, I'm probably cooler with some people that are friends more than my family.
I just think as if I had a son, and even for my nephew, whoever he marries, we the bloodline. We speak first.
For me, I feel like the bloodline necessarily doesn't have to come first. Like once I'm married to you, like I feel like you're my bloodline. You know what I mean? So my wife definitely comes first. But if it was my girlfriend, then maybe my bloodline could come first. I'm like my mom, my brother. You know what I mean? So that's where I stand. If it were to be your husband or your dad, who exactly would you pick? Let's say your husband and your dad don't like each other.
That for me, I cannot answer because I don't have a dad, so I'm always gonna say Zazie. That's where I'm at. But like, if I had a father in my life presently, I have such a struggle fighting against my parents because just like whatever you say, you a stranger. I'm coming from these people. What they say goes. So if I had a father, I'll just be like,
no.
Like for me, if my mom says no, it's no.
So
I don't give a damn if you're 58 and she's like,
over your husband.
Yeah, I would.
Wow.
At this moment, but it might change.
Yeah.
Like marriage changes you, right?
Maybe,
that's why you're making the decision in the first place, right?
But if you choose your dad over your husband, he's gonna kick you out.
Yeah.
Like talking about whatever their parents say should go, like that's a no, man. Come on, man. Like, are we still in high school or are we in like primary school? What are you talking about? As long as you're like over 18 or 21, you should make your own choices. Like, nah, come on.
I think it's a different situation when it comes to the male figure, father figure for the women. It's quite different, because the men, I know most of the men know how to handle, when it comes to relationship with their kids and their spouses, they know how to handle. But for me, I would say I would stand by my spouse because, my dad is there, he's a man. Men will always be looking out there doing all their things, but mothers are always there though. But if I'm married, when I'm married, I mean, I'll stick to my husband more than my dad. I mean,
well, there's another angle too, like even like a real scenario, like my pops and my wife kind of don't always see eye to eye. So, you know, but at the same time, it's like I love my pops. I respect him like he's my hero. But at the same time, you know, I'm like, you know, you might have a feeling of how you feel because everybody's raised different. Like, you know, that's the biggest thing is like even with me and my wife, we're raised totally different. So, you know, he has an issue with how she is because of how she was raised. Right. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm like, hey, that's my wife though. Yeah. So you gotta kind of chill. Like I hear you, but you kind of gotta chill. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like I can play the fence, but at the same time I'm like, you know, I hear you, but you know, I live with her.
Yeah. All right. So what I think when it comes to bloodline is that 3 is a crowd, okay? The marriage is between 2 people, you and your spouse. So you guys are one. So you cannot let your mom or any outsider dictate or have any opinion on your marriage. That is it. And if you feel like you cannot abide by those rules, then stay single. Marriage is not for everybody.
Real life scenario for me is like, for example, it's like my brother and his girl and my mom. You know, I feel like it depends on the bond that you have with your parent, like how like the bond that you all had before somebody comes in the picture, you know? Yeah. So with like my mom and my brother, like they're really close, like they talk about everything, like everything. And the girl has an issue with that, like you shouldn't be telling your mom this and that, that's our business, this and the third. Right. You know, like there are some things that you need to keep in between you and me, but like you don't see it as an issue. So the girl, you feel like, oh, your mom is overstepping in that relationship, but my mom don't think she's doing it mom because that's how we've been for years. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I mean, in that case,
yeah, I think that's definitely the biggest thing is what is your relationship with your parent? Right. Because if you have a good one, then it might be one way. But if you don't really care about it, you said you don't have a dad, so then that's not even really a factor.
I think that even with having like a good relationship with your parents, you know, who are you waking up with every day? Every morning I gotta be with my husband. You know what I mean? Y'all should have raised me well enough to put me in a situation where I picked the right man. And now I have transitioned to the new like phase of my life, and y'all should actually be proud that I like made a solid decision. So like at the end of the day, y'all just need to come together and love everybody.
But sometimes you blinded. Sometimes love can get you blinded, and you know your parents can see things that you don't see. Like they say, like you know, an old person can see something from afar that you may not see. So you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I just feel like my parent opinion will matter. Like I would take into consideration. I might not fully be on their side, but it's gonna be a big factor for me to consider.
That's the same here.
So, buttressing on her point, I actually feel like we usually have to build boundaries. You know, like in relationships, you know, like family, like we just have to have like boundaries where, okay, this is your limit, like you can't go past here, you know, and that's where a lot of times.
You give your mom a boundary.
Well, you kind of have to. You're married, you kind of have to because
you don't hear somebody something you say, but then you just let them know, like you know, like you can't do this to my wife. You know, like regardless of whatever it is,
or
like
husband.
she's my wife or husband. You know, whatever the situation is. So I feel like we have to have boundaries in relationships.
And sort of picking on that point on boundaries, I think there are no hard and fast rules. There are times that your wife or your husband, your partner can be wrong, and your parents will be wrong. So it's not like a given formula like, oh, I'll always take my mother's side. I also feel like your partner should be reasonable enough to like, oh, just chill. Let's let her have her way. You know, she's going to be going out of the house in like 2 weeks. We'll have her time. And you know, that's what makes reasonable human beings. It's no like, you know, it's never like black or white.
What about in the case where the wife feels jealous of the mom?
I mean,
or the mom feels jealous of the wife, like, so maybe like she feels like, well, they're too close. Because honestly, like I have this person who's like, he does not
people like that.
There are people like that. Like I met this dude. He's like, it doesn't matter who he's married. His mom has to come and live with them. Like I don't know, like they have this weird bond. Like the mom is like, I am not gonna get married. If I do, you have to come with me. And it's like together as one. And then the girlfriend, she feels like, yo, like you
what's
grown
going on?
now, like you need to cut that umbilical cord now and go your own way. But like no, they're like super tight, and that made that pact. Like it doesn't matter who it is, it's you and me against everybody else. Yeah. So the wife feels like she like threatened by the relationship that they have. You know, it's like whoa.
Well, some people like like if you look at some people's happiness, like say for instance you're around your spouse, but then you get around your mom, and then you guys cracking up laughing. Right. And they never see you laugh like that, so they're like,
right,
you like that around me. Like, so then they're jealous of the charisma and rapport that you have, but
you also ain't having sex with me.
I mean, like going back to your point and your point, boundaries need to be in place, right? Yes. And coming to your point is that everybody's raised differently, right? Because like I think we're all Africans here, right? But if you're in a biracial relationship, white people are raised different from black people. You know what I mean? And your mom might feel like, look, this is my son, and this is who the type of person I see him being with.
Right.
But you choose this person because love has no boundaries, right? So your mom's like, oh, she shouldn't be doing that to me, and you're like, Mom, at the same time, you're not being reasonable. So you kind of gotta be logical about the whole situation and kind of like create boundaries. So that I think that's really important.
So I have a question now. So what if your mom comes to visit and she says she want to take over the kitchen? And then you're
that's a real thing. That's a real thing. I'm with that. I'm like, Mom, go ahead, man.
I got your back, Mom. I'm not gonna fight that.
Gladly. I would be ecstatic if his mom wanted to cook for us every day. I don't need to be in the kitchen day in and day out, so if you want to cater our food, more power to you. Let me know what groceries you need. I will bring that shit to you. Thanks, sis.
I thought women were gonna be mad about that. I don't want her to take over the kitchen. Like my mom, she loves to cook. When she comes, she wants to cook, do all the cooking. But just give me some. Let me prepare some food myself too. You know. So I don't know.
That's my son. You gonna cater for him? Thank you.
That like maybe some of the newer generation of
they don't care
the same way as the older
generation.
Oh, they taught us. They taught us. We know.
I mean, don't cook or don't.
Good.
I'm just saying, like, there's like, the younger crowd, they're like, I don't be cooking. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's the reality.
On the flip side, what if the mother feels that the wife you marry doesn't cook good enough?
Right, that's the biggest thing.
Because I think, one of the biggest things I'm afraid of is making my spouse feel inadequate at any point in the marriage.
But what if the food is actually
bad? Inadequate, man.
You have to If she cooks your food for you, you have to appreciate it. No matter how the food is, if it's good or it's not good, you need to appreciate it. Because women, later you can tell her, babe, maybe the salt was a little bit too much. Can you reduce it? But for you to tell a woman that her food is not good, that brings her morale down. Don't you tell a woman your food is not good. Eat it. Just eat it.
Eat it.
Oh, it's delicious.
That's all about
That shit was funny, bro. How you gonna tell me not to tell somebody, or my wife per se, that the food is bad? Like, bro, I'll be roasting you. Like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, that shit is hella trash. Like, you gotta improve. Like, I don't know how to cook, but I'll learn. You know what I mean? I'll learn with you. You know what I mean? But shit, I'll tell you, like, it's trash, fam. Like, nah.
And for my brothers, if he brings home a woman, we are all waiting. We're just like, first off, she makes tea. We are waiting. Okay, it tastes good. Lunch, okay, a little bit too much salt.
See,
Dinner, then at the end of the day, we'll be like, my sister insulted you.
So it's always a judging thing, and I think that's kind of the scary part. Is like you
is it judging or is it telling somebody like, yo, you put too much salt?
No, I mean I get it, but you know, it's like you're waiting, you're like, tea. Lunch.
Right.
I think it's the honest thing as human beings is to tell your spouse, like, hey, so
Yo,
my family knows good food, and if you just overseason a little bit, they won't say something. But you shouldn't be like, you shouldn't feel too bad. Like, I overseason, guys. As I serve you, I'll tell you, the salt is heavy. But you
But if it's like a once in a while thingy, that's
like,
different. What if it's like a regular store, bro? I'm telling you, that's what you do. I should have got over here. Like,
all right. So when it comes to the term of cooking, right? Let's say if I don't know how to cook, and first of all, you should have tested my cooking before you marry me, okay? Because when you made that marriage decision for a lifetime, so if you felt like, okay, I didn't know how to cook, and you still wanted to marry me, that is the choice that you made. Now you have to deal with it. Your mom can come, you know, when you fall here and there, or can come and teach us how to cook, but she cannot come and run my home and be coming every time and cook in my kitchen. I'm sorry, honey boo boo, that is not gonna happen. Not here, not today. There is something different. Like, if you're gonna tell me I don't know how to cook, then yourself, can you cook? Yourself, you can cook. Myself, I can cook. So we both cannot cook. So like, we can take cooking lesson from your mom in her home, not in my home. Have you ever seen your grandma in your parents' house when you were growing up? I don't think so. So tell your mom to stay in your own home. That's my opinion.
So you're telling me it's okay for your mom to come to the house to cook for you every time because you think your wife's food is bad?
yes.
Andrew, you're talking about your mom coming into the kitchen and taking over the kitchen. Yes, fine. I know moms, they like to do that when they come visiting. They want to bring back, you know, the old food you've been eating before. She wants to make it for you to eat. But for her to, knowing that you are married and you have your wife at home and she wants to take over the kitchen, I don't think that is right.
You said you say your mom come and take over the kitchen.
She can't.
No, she cannot.
This one is for Andrew. Or guy, you said that I don't know how to cook, and you're talking about the cooking thing. Is it the reason why you married me? You didn't marry me for me to be cooking for you. You married me for other things as well. So the cooking is not an issue. Now there is YouTube, there is Uber Eats, there is, you know what I'm saying, a lot of stuff we can order outside. If you're tired of ordering outside, then okay, let's start taking cooking lesson.
So is there a point that like somebody has to step their game up though if their cooking ain't that good?
I feel like that's your spouse. If I don't know how to cook, honey, or I put to myself like, okay, honey, you're supposed to be on my side. Make sure I'm good so that your mom can like my cooking. What do you mean?
If your food is trash, man, it's not easy to say, honey this, honey that. You bust out to get Chinese guy. Don't be say something again.
No, but my view is I would always cover my spouse.
Thank you. That's
no one is perfect. I see. Look, there's some things I can do.
Listen to what you say. Constant. Yeah, but it's constant. Like every day or every 2 days.
Teach her.
I'm eating rubbish inside house.
We'll get something to teach her.
No, she's cat. Come on,
you get it. I married her.
My mom.
You get it.
My mom is teacher.
I can like, yo, I've been having problems with my stomach. So I'm married. For better or for worse.
That is for worse. You don't live to see it.
At the end of the day, though, y'all will always prefer what you grew up on. So y'all will always be better than your wife. So with that being said, if mama come over and she like, let me show you how he like his mac and cheese, I'm gonna be like, okay, mom, how you?
But that's different. That's
fine. That ain't no problem.
That's fine. Right? If she's coming and trying to teach me, it's different. But she be like, oh, you don't know how to cook. Move. Let me do it.
That's
what if she tells you, listen.
Move your
but if she tells you move, right? She
No.
tells you move. Yeah, you move too, and you just keep moving.
Why do you marry me then?
Exactly.
Why you marry me then?
She's gonna divorce you after your mom.
Okay, but
how to cook though, right?
I mean, hey,
I don't. I
know how to cook, so.
So like, if you like your mom's food so much, right? I'm pretty sure that she probably taught you how to cook.
She probably did, but I wasn't paying attention.
Well, exactly.
I could pour rice though. I was a white rice.
What if we flip the script and go? What about like if your mom and your wife are like too cool, and then they going against you? Like you're against
that's
the guy.
my type of relationship.
Yeah, you're
I'd be like, yes.
Let's move out. Like you're against me, like you know,
in my own house. That's not gonna
happen.
You two guys.
Sometimes the mom and the girl get real cool, and then
that means you had to like fuck up or something.
No, it's not even that, bro. It's like, you demand a certain type of food all the time, and they on the same team. And they're like, look, you don't want to eat that.
Yeah, right.
Like, what you gonna do?
I'll go outside, go buy some food.
Like they just cook the whole meal.
You gotta eat it though.
That's disrespectful. It comes back to like respecting, right?
Yeah. You gotta eat it.
So like, I have a situation where like my wife is actually white, right? And my mom was African, so I'm accustomed to like the egusi and like the fried rice and things like that, right?
Yeah.
So my mom would always cook food, and like my wife, she tries to actually cook African food at times, but it's not the same as your mother, right? So my mom would always make food and be like, "Oh, I got some food here. You should come over and pick it up." So I would go over here and go pick it up, and I get back home, and my wife had made some chicken casserole. So I'm like, I really want some fried rice right now, but it's really disrespectful to don't eat your food. So I put the fried rice in the refrigerator.
You first, you really.
So I just, man,
honestly, I know what said you. I'm gonna try my fried rice. I'm gonna smash
this is what you are getting.
What?
No. Have more than one dish on the plate. I just want to throw that out.
No, I get that. But I have a phobia of rice and mashed potatoes touching each other, so I kind of don't want that.
You want me to buy you a plate?
What's up?
You can have 2 plates. I'll buy you a plate.
I'm trying to watch my figure right now.
All right, I believe that, you know, at the end of the day, everything boils down to diplomacy. So there's no straitjacket rules. No, you know, it just depends on the situation. So, but the most important thing is for me here is I'd never want to make my spouse feel inadequate or feel insecure, because that's who I'm spending the rest of my life with. And I would like to believe that my parents raised a good man, and so they should relax with regards to my decisions and what I would do regarding any situation that I find myself that would involve my wife and my mother, and so even my wife or my father. So they should trust my judgment, and I understand that they have the wealth of experience, but like I said, diplomacy would, you know, play a role with regards to the decision that I make, you know, regarding whatever situation I find myself with my spouse. Yeah.
That's cool. Well, for me, I feel like marrying someone is bringing that person into your family. So everyone is already family, and you apply the rules that apply to family. Sometimes some people are wrong, sometimes they're right. It's like you said, no hard and fast rules. You treat everything with common sense. You talk to your spouse. Sometimes you have to compromise just to make the parents happy. It's even easier for Africans because we know we always have to respect the older ones. Like, let them have their way. You know, it's just temporary. You know. But if it comes down to like standing your ground in your house, of course you have to defend your spouse. That is the most reasonable thing to do. Except she's extremely wrong, and like, babe, what's up? You know you're wrong. You know, let's just apologize and let it go. So that's just me. No hard and fast rules.
So like, I'm not sure exactly what the Bible said, but it says like when a man grows up, you know, he moves out the house and start his own family.
Yes.
He takes
he
his
will
wife
leave
with
his
him.
mother and father.
Yeah, so like at the end of the day, you can't really pick a side, but your wife should always come first. If it comes to a decision where you feel like your mother's being, like, she's not being logical, and you feel like your wife is not being logical, you basically got to step in as a man and be like, look, you guys are both wrong, and this is how it should be. it comes to a respect thing for both of both of the people in your life. So your mom and your wife. So just basically, I think you should try to respect them as much as you can. And if you feel like they're not being logical, you need to tell them.
Yeah, my own thing is, if we're married, I'm going for my wife, but I'll probably try to listen to my mom's. Then for the food thingy, she can't cook, nigga. Shit, she gotta go back to my mom's. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, like, bro, that shit is trash, man. I eat food, man. That's my own. So yeah.
That goes back to him saying that you don't want to make your wife insecure, right? So
I'm not making it insecure. I'm just telling her
the truth.
man.
If she feels insecure, that's her business. That's him.
That's the truth, though. Like, yo, this shit it's not good. Like, you should taste it.
Yeah.
But she's used to that, bro. She don't say it as it is. Man.
Well, for me, I just feel like any relationship, it doesn't matter if it's your husband, wife, your friends, anybody, it's all about compromise. Because if there's no compromise, something's gonna break.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So there's got to be some bending both ways. So like for me, I'm definitely gonna stick up for my wife, but at the same time, there's got to be respect. So as long as there's respect, then she's got to know, hey, I'm your husband. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you got to know I'm going to respect my folks. So I'm not going to pick one side all the way over the other. I'm going to respect them. I'm going to respect you. And we just got to be, logical, diplomatic about it. So,
for me, look, my mom gonna have to love my husband before I even marry him. I ain't trying to deal with it, honestly. She's a vocal human, so you don't want to deal with it either. But I do think that at the end of the day, it's all about communication. I gotta let him know, babe, you were out of line. Ma, you were out of line. So it's just about like keeping a balance in the house, being able to, I don't know, assess the situation as it comes. So, and as for the cooking thing, if your mama want to move in and start cooking forever, I'm down. Put her in the guest house.
Right.
Yeah. So for me, just like I mentioned earlier, I think that boundaries should be set. I feel like that's really, really important, and I feel like that's something that is lacking, especially Africans. Like a lot of people usually tend to want to overstep their boundaries. So it's very essential for us as adults to know our boundaries. Know where your limits are. And try not to go past it. And if there's a situation, I just hope that my husband is vocal about it and actually being truthful. Well, he's always truthful anyway. But then I just really hope that he tells me the truth, whether I'm wrong or I'm right. Just let me know. And then, just say that it is.
I think in my life with my son, I would not come over. I would not be cooking because I would overstep. Because it's very hard as a parent to separate yourself from a child. Your son is your child. You're going to look at him that way. And if I'm like the wifey, I'm just like, yo, she's your mom. I get it. I'm just going to step back. She coming over. I'm going to take a trip. That's it. We're just going to have to figure it out. But I think my man, if he doesn't be like, yo, my mom said, I'd be like, you need to listen to your mother first. Let's hear what she has to say. And then I'll say something. If I don't agree, I'll go home for a little 2 weeks and come back.
For me, I feel like a mother should just be a mother, and the spouse should just be a spouse. Mothers, I know they like to encourage in marriages, but like she was talking about boundaries, you have to set that boundaries there, and don't make your spouse feel that it's being left out. Some men are mama's boys. I don't want my child to be a mama's boy. I want my child, my son, to love his wife, and I won't interfere in their relationship. That's it.
I feel like a lot of you guys forgot one important thing. Because I feel like once we're married, we become one. You and me are one. your mom is an outsider. It don't matter. So it's like at that point, if your mom comes to you saying something about me, you should be offended because she offended you.
So you now.
No, let me finish. We are one. So if I don't know how to cook, you don't know how to cook. So if she's coming, yeah, it's not the truth. Now, if she wants to come teach us how to cook, that's different. I'll be open to learn, and then we can whatever we will learn. We will cook for you, whatever you like. We will do it. But like, let's not forget that you and me are one. Like, we are the one that is made. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we are one. So your mom is an outsider. She needs to understand that her role was for her to birth you. You know what I'm saying? Groom you, train you, raise you. She only did that. Now it's my turn. It's my role.
Give that.
So when you birth yourself, her job is done. Now it's me to take over. She did her part. Now she needs to let me do my part. Now if she feel like I'm not doing it right, she needs to give me time and patience. Unless she's willing to teach me. If she's not willing to teach and just talk, let her stay outside.
Hey guys, that was it for today's episode. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Like, subscribe to the channel. Turn on your notification bell. Share. And thank you guys. Keep coming back. See you next video. Peace.